mental illness in the 60s seemed like everything fit in. I had gone from having a father who couldn't get a job teaching English at Cape Cod Community Hospital to being the son of a so-called cultural icon, a superstar. I had watched, two Kennedys and Martin Luther King get shot. I had watched the National Guard fire on students with live ammunition. So hearing voices, sort of fit in.
I remember back in the 70s when I was first getting into this field, I used to hand out an article written by Mark Vonnegut called Why I Want to Bite Artie Lang. Now, Artie Lang was someone who glamorized mental illness, who thought it was like really pretty groovy to have a body of experiences and hallucinations. But what he missed, and what Mark has pointed out, is the terrible suffering and many challenges that individuals with mental illness face.
I was first diagnosed as having schizophrenia. And I think partly because I was so sick. Mental illness at that point was a reasonable reaction to an unreasonable society. I came away from my experience with the idea that it was a disease like any other disease. And I also felt at the time that it was a good thing it was an illness, because if my mental health and recovery depended on the sanity and reasonableness of my society, I was utterly screwed.
Mark is a good friend of the Clay Center and someone who's used his own experiences to help combat the many stigmas that surround mental illness. This diagnosis that Mark received in his 20s would have stopped many people in their tracks. Society is quick to lower their expectations for individuals with serious mental illness, and it would have been easy for Mark to do the same. But he didn't.
I was very curious about what, in fact, I could do and whether or not I was damaged goods. I had been good at science and math and chess, and so I went back to school to see if I, in fact, could do those things again. And if that went well, I decided I really wanted to be a doctor. Now, if I had, in the day room of Hollywood Hospital, told the nurses and doctors that I was going to get out of there, go to Harvard Medical School, and write a couple books, of course they would have upped my medications.
Even today, there are professionals in our field that have a hard time imagining someone with mental illness becoming a doctor. The stigma is too strong. So it's great to have someone like Mark, who not only has proven the stigma wrong through his actions, but is also willing to speak about his experiences to help others. And if there's one topic that Mark is really keen to talk about, it's the arts.
It's very important to me that the arts and mental illness be seen as a positive relationship, rather than don't go into the arts, you might become crazy like Van Gogh. I'm not saying Van Gogh was not crazy, he was, but his ability to paint, and to paint so beautifully, was what kept his feet on the ground. So I think great art is made by great artists telling the truth to save their own lives, because they have to. That is how I looked at my own recovery and how hard I tried to get it right in my books. And then it's how I looked at my father and his work and his definite PTSD from what happened to him in World War II. And when I look at somebody like Van Gogh, and I look at somebody like Dostoevsky, whatever, I just see the pattern over and over as telling the truth to save your own life. Nobody chucks their medicine, tells their therapist to go screw himself, and then goes on to paint great paintings or write great novels. It simply doesn't happen. More than medication, more than shock treatment, the arts have been what helped me get better.
Mark's not just a doctor, he's a writer, a musician, and an artist. And it's no coincidence that he's gone on to achieve so highly in such a challenging field while also pursuing these creative outlets. If you're interested in hearing more from Mark, please check out the blog post he wrote for the Clay Center and listen to our podcast with him. You can find links to those below. Thanks. He's Steve Schlossman.
And he's Dean Barassi.
And we're the MGH Clay Center, and hope that our conversation will help you have yours.